Hi, my name is Younus, and today I'm going to show you how to draw an Islamic geometric pattern from the book Islamic Geometric Patterns by Eric Broug. This is my first video, so I do apologize if it's not as professional or as kind of smooth as some of the videos you might be used to. It is completely unscripted. It's off the top of my head. Well, I'm using the book as a sort of guide to basically show you how to draw the pattern that we have on screen in front of us. Us. It's the first pattern from Eric Broug's book. The pattern is called the Great Mosque of Corboda. And I guess being the first pattern, it is the easiest pattern in the book to draw. I've got I guess it's the first edition of the book. I know there was an edition of the book that came out a couple of years ago, and it had a few more designs. So yeah, I don't have that book. I'm going off the kind of, I don't know when this edition is. It doesn't say. I can't see where it says. Well, it's one of the earlier editions of the book. But yeah, let's get on with the pattern. So yeah, the pattern you see you see on the screen at the moment is the Great Mosque of Cordoba. It is a square pattern. In the book, you have square patterns, hexagon patterns, and pentagon patterns. If I do any other videos, I'd like to cover some of the hexagon patterns, maybe even one of the pentagon patterns. But yeah, we'll start off with this one as it's pretty straightforward. You'll be able to turn this sort of design, if you want, into a pattern like this. You can even kind of go sort of, more, you can repeat the pattern more than this if you want. Use it in whichever way you want. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to create a new document. I've got a sort of template or a sort of preset, if you like, that is 1200 by 1200 pixels. And I'm just going to make sure I've got my snap to grid selected. I'm going to show my grid. Okay, we're going to start by drawing a square that measures 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels. I'm going to select that square using the move tool, and I'm going to take the fill out, and I'm going to make the stroke 1 point. Excellent. Okay, so then once we've got the square, we draw a circle in the square. Again, the circle will be 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels. That one's just a little bit short, so I'm going to use the move tool and make that fit. You've got a transform window down here in the bottom of the program. I'm using Affinity Designer, by the way. I have created these patterns in Illustrator before. You should be able to create these patterns in any vector-based design software. Those are the two I've used. At the moment, I've only got Affinity Designer on trial. I am kind of see if I like it enough to buy it. I'm not too keen on subscribing to a software at the moment, so just trying this out to see how I get along with it. But yeah, going back to the pattern, just want to make sure both of the shapes that we've drawn so far are sitting exactly in the middle of the page, which they are. As we can see, they both sit on 600 on the X and Y axis, and both show as 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels. We're now going to draw some lines that intersect the circle and the square. I've selected the pen tool, and my first line is going to be a diagonal line from the top left corner to the bottom right corner. So once I've drawn the line, once I place one node in the top and the second node in the bottom, I hit escape to finish that line, and that allows me to go on and easily create the second line, which is another diagonal line along the horizontal axis, or we're going to create a horizontal line in the middle of the shapes and a vertical line in the middle of the shapes. Just quickly, using the move tool, check the lines to make sure they're in the right place and they are the right length. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to take snap to grid off, and I'm actually going to take I'm going to hide the grid for our next lines. So yeah, at this stage we're only drawing construction lines. There's kind of two stages in the book, and yeah, I guess two stages in drawing Islamic geometric kind of designs and patterns, or the designs that you turn into patterns. And that is first to draw the construction lines and then the lines that make up the design. So I'm going to take the pen tool once we've done that, and using this this point here where the circle and the line intersect, I'm going to drop a node there and drop a node here as well. Hit escape to finish the line, and then using the move tool, I'm going to extend that to the edge of the artboard on each side. Just have a quick look down here at transform, and it does sit in the middle of the artboard on one axis, and it is 1200 pixels across. And we're going to draw another line in the bottom half of the circle. So yeah, let me delete that node, and I'll just explain quickly what I'm doing. So when I line up, because I've got the snap on, when I bring the pen tool sort of near the intersection point of the different shapes that we have on the page at the moment, it kind of highlights the shapes. So what I like to do, I like to make sure that at least two of the shapes are highlighted before I put the node down, and I'll do that there. And yeah, again, just make sure two of the shapes, or the shape and the line, are highlighted. I'm just going to click off or click back on the line, hit escape to make sure the line's finished, and then extend that to the edge of the artboard. Again, we're in the middle of the artboard and we have a width of 1200 pixels. I mean, this shape, this kind of V that we've created, does repeat on each kind of on each sort of intersection of the design, or on the kind of north, east, south and west intersection of the design. I mean, I'm going to draw the next two in, but I'll also show you how. Well, I'll also show you that it's okay to copy and paste them as well to save time. Yeah, that's all good. We'll do that again. Oh, I didn't press escape. Yeah, so that's, yeah, I'm glad that happened. That's what happens when you don't press escape. You get weird shapes, lines that are kind of linked to each other that you don't want linked to each other. So I'm going to delete all these lines and start again. Let's draw that line again. Hit escape. Take the move tool, extend that, and extend that. Take this move tool, or take the pen tool again, draw this line, hit escape, take the move tool, and extend one side and the other side. I'm just going to quickly have a quick look at all these lines to make sure they are all even, which they all look like they are even. Yeah, excellent. So we've got, like, let's imagine sort of we've got these lines intersecting kind of east and west on the circle. We also want the same lines intersecting north and south on the circle. To save us drawing the lines again, we can just copy the 4 lines that we've just drawn. Copy and paste. I'm going to use keyboard shortcuts. Control C, Control V. Pasted those on, and using the transform window, I'm going to rotate those lines by 90 degrees. And yeah, there you go. Those are all our construction lines for the design. Just gonna, I mean, yeah, I did have a look at those in the transform window, and they all look like they're sitting in the right place. Just going to select everything, make sure the middle of the diagram here is selected, and yeah, it looks like everything's the right size and in the right position. And yeah, we're going to go on and draw the design lines now. Okay, so I'm going to take the pen tool again. I'm going to change the color to red. I've already got red in the eyedropper for some reason. That's all good. And let's make the stroke width 2 points. And yeah, we haven't done anything to the snap note, so we're good. Let's go ahead. So we'll start with this point here. As you can see, there's a little bit of kind of wiggle. You sometimes do get a bit of wiggle. As you can see, this red line is sort of jumping up and down on that point. Yeah, I'm going to sort of push the wiggle, if you like, towards the top for the moment and just see how we get on. There's no wiggle on this point, which is good. If we've got wiggle here, yeah, we've got wiggle here. Let's push it to the bottom. See how we get on. Let's go to the corner, push the wiggle down and out. Let's come up to the top, push the wiggle up and out. And let's close the shape off. As you can see, on the pen, you've got a plus or you've got a minus, depending on sort of if you're over a node, an open, well, depending on what node you're over or sort of where you sort of hover the pen tool. But if you come to the first node that you drew in that kind of series of lines, you can actually, the plus or the minus will turn into a circle and you can close the shape off, which is what I've just done. Yeah, that's closed. I'm just going to click on this node just to make sure. Yeah, it's on this, it's 0 on the y-axis, which is what I wanted. Right, so that's our first shape. Our second shape is a different shape to this first shape, and it starts on this line here. So again, if there's a bit of wiggle, this time we're going to push the wiggle up. I'm going to draw our next node on this intersection point, then come down to this point here. There is no wiggle, which is good. We can just drop our node there. Again, push the wiggle up to the top. And come back and close the shape off here. Okay, let's select this shape. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, it sits. Yes, it's in a good place on the X and Y axis. So it sits right in the corner. Just have a quick look at this shape here. Yeah, 0, 0, 0, 600 and 0, 1200, and the height is 1200, so that's good. Okay, we're going to repeat these shapes and rotate. So let's just click on the two shapes. Click in the middle here on transform, and then I'm going to copy the shapes and paste them, and I'm going to rotate the pasted shape 90 degrees. So that's our first copy and paste. I'm going to paste again, and this time I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees, and I'm going to paste it again. This time I'm going to rotate it 270 degrees. Okay, those are all our design lines for this part anyway. What I do from here, now that we've got all our kind of design lines drawn, I'm going to hide the black construction lines. So I'm going to select all the construction lines in the layers window. I've held down Shift and sort of clicked on the top. I'll show you again. I'll clicked on the top black construction line, held down Shift, scroll down to the bottom, hold down Shift and click on the bottom construction line, and I'm going to hit Control G to group all those construction lines, and I'm also going to lock the layer from here and hide it. So those were, that's not quite the finished design that we're looking for. That is very close to the finished design. Our next stage is the next thing we need to do is to show the grid, snap to grid, and using the rectangle tool again, draw another square that measures 1000 by 1000 pixels, again in the middle of the artboard. And right from here, what we're going to do, select all the shapes. I'm going to give them a fill. Let's fill them in black. And as they're all still selected, I'm going to hide the grid just so we can see what happens a little bit easier. Make sure everything's selected. And then what we're going to do, we're going to come up to our geometry tools here in the top right hand corner, and we're going to go to the end one, and we're going to hit divide. And what that does, it divides everything you've selected at the at all the lines and the intersection points. I might not be explaining that correctly. As I said, this is I've only just started using this trial version of Affinity Designer, and I've just been sort of creating designs. I haven't created designs for a few years. I'm just coming back into it. I thought I'd make a video to share with everyone, as I quite enjoy making the designs. Thought other people might want to know how to make them as well. So I'm going to take what we're going to do. We just want to be left with the design in the middle. So we're going to select all the shapes outside of our 1000 pixel square and just delete them one by one. I mean, I prefer not to rush and sort of group select and delete, as I just want to kind of keep an eye on what's being deleted, as I don't want to end up deleting the sort of wrong line or shape. Okay, that looks like everything. Just going to select everything. Okay, just looking at that, I think there's a couple of lines that, what happens when you divide sometimes is that there's a few lines here and there that kind of either get left over or created, and you have to kind of go in and basically delete them by hand. So yeah, we've got a line here that is a bit random. This doesn't always happen, but it can happen from time to time. So I'm going to take the node tool. I'm going to click on that node so that it highlights blue, and I'm going to delete that, and then I'm going to snap that shape back into place and snap that shape back into place. I noticed that we also had the same line here on this side, so I'm going to delete that node again, snap that shape back into place, snap that shape back into place. I just wonder if there's any others kind of floating about. Doesn't appear to be, from what I can see. No, it should be all right. I mean, if any do come up, then we can always kind of take care of them a little bit later. But yeah, looking at that, it looks like everything's, yeah, it looks like everything's good from there. Okay, this is our design. What I'm going to do, I'm going to select everything, remove the line or remove the stroke. Let's get the fill, and let's start sort of filling some of these shapes in. I'll start with this one, fill that in white. Let's take the kind of stars, if you like, or the beams, the light beams. I mean, because I think the middle shape is always supposed to represent a star, and these are kind of the beams of light that kind of shoot off a star, if you like, from what I was led to believe. Let's color that in cyan, just for argument's sake. Let's select all the other colors. Let's make this one 100% cyan, 50% or whatever, 100 cyan, 50 magenta, 50 yellow, and 0 black. Oh, did I miss that one? Yeah, I did. So I'll just use the eyedropper. And for these last ones, let's go with 100 cyan and 50 yellow. I think that's what I did on the other one. Yeah, that's it. Cool. Yeah, so that is our design. And you can leave it at that if you like. What I'm going to do next is show you how to turn that into a pattern like this. Okay, I'm going to select our design, copy it, and I'm going to create a new document that measures 2000 pixels by 3000 pixels. I'm going to paste the design in and just tuck that into the corner. Let's have a look at the snap. Just going to take the snap to our key points off, and let's move that to this side to begin with. And then I'm going to paste the shape, the design again. And again, there's a bit of wiggle, and I'm just going to sort of push that up against. There's a little bit of wiggle to the left and right, so I'm going to push that to the right up against the design there. Now, what I'm going to do while we're here is I'm going to add these shapes together. Using the geometry tool. I don't think that one added quite as we would have liked this to align in the middle. What we'll do if that happens, we'll just delete that one. What are we doing now? Okay, we'll delete that one. Copy and paste this shape. Rotate it 180 degrees and tuck it back in there. Then we'll take this whole row, copy and paste that, and bring that down to the middle. And again, we're going to add, well, I'm going to bring it down twice. Okay, we're going to add the shapes again. So select each shape and add. Is that added with a line? That has. Let's try and add these shapes. You sometimes do get the shapes not lining up entirely correctly, even though everything is snapped to grid. It's a bit annoying when that happens. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to undo all those lines that I've tried to snap together. I'm just going to bring this shape, oh, not that one, let's go back. Yeah, I'm going to bring these shapes out and just kind of bring them together just outside of that space. And they tend to kind of snap together once you just bring them out of their kind of comfort zone, if you like. Yeah. We don't need to do it with all of them because some of these shapes are well, they're just copies of the other shapes. But with these two, that didn't happen. Why not? Thought we were all hunky-dory. Did I not select the top shape? Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's quite normal for this to happen. I mean, when I used to use Adobe Illustrator, the exact same thing used to happen. The lines, I mean, as precisely as you think you're snapping things, I mean, at one point I was measuring things with a calculator, and when you divide, for some reason, it just doesn't divide as you'd like it to. So I've sort of selected these two shapes and held down Control and just dragged those shapes into the kind of space that we made for the other two shapes. I'm going to delete this and this, copy and paste this shape from here, rotate it 180 degrees and stick that there. Just going to zoom out, and as you can see, we've got all these shapes here that we can do. We can just copy and paste the shapes from the top down to the bottom. Now, I know we've only got kind of three shapes, three patterns, three designs by two design, a 3x2 kind of repeat pattern, and if you were to kind of repeat this more, you would probably have to, you might be there all day, deleting and adding and copy and pasting, like shapes that haven't sort of joined together when you've added them properly. But it's a little bit hit and miss. I've not quite worked out why it misses when it does. but it does at times. I'll look into that further and see if I can work it out. But for the time being, this is kind of what I do, basically. I'm going to select all these shapes, come back to the color window here, and select a black outline, increase the stroke to 4 points. And that is our Islamic geometric pattern for the Great Mosque of Cordoba. So just going to go ahead and save that quickly. That's the pattern, and I'll call that video. Yeah, that's our finished design. Yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Again, this is my first video, so I do apologize if it's, you know, a little bit all over the place. If I make another video, hopefully, you know, I'll have sort of, cleaned up some of the rough edges or whatever you want to say. I'll leave a link to the book in the description. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope you can put this to, you know, good use. And yeah, leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care then. Bye bye.